almost 6:05, so let's begin. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can you guys all see the presentation? Great. Okay, so welcome to our joint graduate program webinar for these two programs, Developing Countries and Migration Studies. I'm doing a quick intro at the beginning. My name's David. I work at TAU International in the Outreach and Recruitment team, and we work with all of the English top programs, promoting their programs and outreach and recruitment to prospective students. So I'll give you a quick presentation in a few minutes. Then we have two program overviews by Professor Anastasia Gorodzeisky, the program head of Migration Studies. We also have Professor Tammie Ronen, the program head of Developing Countries. We've also got two pre-recorded lectures for you, mini lectures from Professor Adriana Kemp and Dr. Einav Levy. Then we also have a couple of students and alumni that will be talking to you as part of the program overviews as well. I think Ilan, unfortunately, I didn't update that. He's not able to come tonight. So we have Nora and Sofya, I think. They've just waved. Cool. So welcome to Tel Aviv University. Just at a glance, this gives you a bird's eye view of us and who we are. We have 30,000 total students. 2,000 of them are international students. We have 9 faculties, 125 schools and departments, 100 plus countries, and we're one of the top 100 innovation universities. And you know, we have the good thing about TAU is we're one campus. So if you know our campus, if you've been to Tel Aviv, you'll know it's a very, very big campus, right smack bang in North Tel Aviv. And that's, you know, gives you the best of both worlds here with, you know, all of our faculties have their own buildings, their own libraries, and you have access to the best of both worlds with activities and programming. Oops. Sorry, my screen's, why has that gone blank? Oops. Okay. Without sort of sounding as a bit big-headed or boasting, but we're very proud of our rankings as the #1 choice among Israeli students. We are number 8 worldwide for graduates established unicorn companies worth $1 billion. And we're actually the only non-US institution to make the top 10 list. So we're very, very proud of that. And like I said before, you know, innovation is at the heart of everything that we do here at TAU, and also in Israel in general, the startup nation. And that's why we're one of the top 100 innovation universities. So we're very proud of our rankings and our figures. If you do join us, then you'll join you know, an illustrious group of alumni that are, you know, impacting and making waves worldwide. I won't go into all of them. Just a couple that I think are worth mentioning is Yotam Ottolenghi. Somebody's here from London, and I'm sure you've been to Ottolenghi's restaurants, which are amazing food. They really, really are. The prices are something else, but the food is absolutely amazing. He's our alumni. Dr. Danny Gold, who gave us that amazing piece of technology, the Iron Dome. He's an alumni. Uri Levine, I think everyone in Israel, if not the world, uses Waze to get around. And that was co-founded by Uri, and he subsequently sold it to Google for a vast, vast sum. So yeah, you'll join us, you'll join a worldwide community, you know, of movers and shakers and people at the cutting edge of research, industry, and development. I won't go into too much detail, but just to say we do have very, very close ties with the industry. We have the remote Tel Aviv, which is the place to nurture innovation and take ideas and transform them into actual ideas. We have the Entrepreneurship Center that's here on campus, that's actually staffed by professionals from the industry. As well as we have amazing events every year. They've been virtual past year because of COVID, but we have the annual Cyber Week and the Artificial Intelligence Week, where we can have 9,000 people on campus throughout the whole week, with amazing speakers from, you know, the echelons of government and commerce from all over the world. Okay, student life team. If there's one thing I want prospective students to remember about my part of the presentation here, is this. These are, I think, outside of the academics, that's, I think, the key thing with the two programs, it's the student life team. They are, when you come to TAU, if you come as an international student, you're not just, you know, plonked into, you know, a foreign country and left to get on with it. Our student life team, they're your first point of contact. They're all Israelis studying, most of them for their graduate degrees, a couple on their undergraduate degrees. So they're all post-army service. They all live on campus. They live in campus, and they are here on campus in our office every day. From the minute you arrive, they help give you a soft landing. They're involved with the orientation. They are available 24/7 for support. With the orientation days, they help you with medical issues, housing issues, getting around. And then they also do a lot of activities and excursions throughout, you know, the length and breadth of Israel. Also last year during the lockdowns, they helped do virtual events on Zoom regularly. And then we also had students that joined us to do quarantine, and the student life team took them food every day, 3 times a day. They did virtual events with them online on Zoom to keep them active and alert. And they do pizza nights in the dorms, tours of Tel Aviv, graffiti tours, beach days, magic shows. I think they are, you know, outside of the academics, which is top notch, they're one of the best resources I think that we have. And they live on the dorms, so they're always there in the dorms. And there's also one person here in our office every day. Plus, there's also a phone number for you to contact them at any time. Yeah, we have on-campus dorms. This is our new Broshim dorms that's just literally just adjacent to campus. And these are new build apartment complexes with studios, 1 and 2 3-bed apartments. We don't offer any meal plans, but the apartments do come with kitchenettes. And there's also a couple of really nice little shops close by that you can buy food. And they include bills, so, you know, council tax, water, Wi-Fi, etc. And obviously health insurance is included. And then we have medical clinics as well, close to campus. So it's literally a 10-minute walk from campus. And actually, the ones at the other side of those tower blocks have amazing views of the cityscape of Tel Aviv. And this side here have amazing views out towards the sea. So they really are a really nice place to live. Thank you. That was me. So I hope that's given you a sort of brief overview of Tel Aviv University and what awaits for you here if you do decide to come and join us, which I hope you do. Yes, so thank you. I'll hand over to Professor Anastasia Gorodzeisky, who will go through an overview of the migration program. I think you're on mute.
Okay, hello, it's great to see all of you, and David, thank you very much for the presentation. Let me just share my screen with you, and we can, okay, it worked, yeah? Then we can talk about the migration program. So MA in migration studies, why to study migration? I guess there's no news that migration is topic of the most heated public and political debates in ever growing number of countries nowadays. And there is almost no news program that doesn't mention migration, and most of the so-called Western countries are in need of migration because of the aging of their population. And yet, immigration countries worries about the consequences of ethnic diversity migration brings, about its impact on the economy of the country, on national identity, on national security. Emigration countries worries about brain drain when their high-skilled, highly educated citizens move their home countries and go to live in other countries. And there is millions of people who are forced to leave their own countries because of the violent conflict, wars, and the severe economic crisis. So migration is important and fascinating and very, very timely topic, I would say. Just look at this share of foreign-born, or in other words, immigrants, doctors and nurses, and some OECD countries. Now think about these numbers in the context of the pandemic that world face nowadays. Can this country manage without migration? So I would like also to stress another aspect of migration as a phenomenon that's really, really important for our conversation here. Because of the central role migration plays in the lives of so many people and so many countries, because of its impact on a wide range of countries' institutions in different life spheres, migration and migration-related issues at micro and macro level have to be addressed by professionals and experts in the field. In our MA program in migration study, we prepare you to become professional and experts in the field of migration and migrated relation issues. And we are an international program, so you will meet and study with students coming from worldwide, as you can even feel now from this small webinar. So our graduates work in a variety of fields and organizations with migrant and asylum seekers across the world. And a recent survey of our alumni shown that the majority of students in the program held migration-related jobs after completing their studies. And you can see here just several specific examples where they work. Some of them held government jobs, others were in non-governmental and grassroots organizations. Some became interpreters in the field of migration, and yet others pursuing PhD degrees in universities around the world. About the program, and you will hear just within the couple of minutes two of our great alumni. So they will tell you the real truths and facts about the program. So about the schedule, okay, we are 1 year program. It includes 3 semesters, fall, spring, and summer. And you can look here in the list of our main classes, and students are first exposed to the main theoretical perspectives on migration and integration, and subsequently to the professionally oriented principles of migration. Led by scholars and practitioners in the field of migration, topics covered in the courses include immigration and citizenship policy, perspectives on refugee, asylum seeking and humanitarian aid, challenges of social, cultural, and economic integration, professional migration, and the global middle class. And the central component of our program is internship within migration and civil society workshop. Students are placed in the internship based upon their academic and professional interest, prior experience in the field, and the relevant language and technical skills. Internships are exposed students to work in the field of migration in Tel Aviv and in other localities in Israel at the national and international levels. You can see here several places, several sites of the internship where our students work. There is a several type of internship. It could be a research-oriented project, research internship. Now, for example, 2 of our students doing the internship with Aleph, a civil society organization working with refugees and HIFA. The organization actually led by one of our alumni. And in this organization, they involved in every step of research that examines crisis response for refugees and asylum seekers in Israel during the first year of COVID-19 pandemic. It could be field work oriented in internship where our students work in different sites of migration related organization, and sometimes it could be self-organized internship when one of our students already know some organization, appropriate organization, and want to develop projects specifically for that organization with which he or she in touch. So this is really in a short about our program. One thing I would like also to say that I didn't say it earlier, that there is also possibility for student exchange semester, and if you do so, it would be fall of the second year actually, and you can do this exchange semester in the leading universities around the world. Tel Aviv University is a part of the Erasmus and other programs. So I think I will finish here, and I will pass the virtual microphone to our alumni. So Sophie, would you like to start?
Gladly, gladly. Thank you so much, Anastasia, and thank you so much for inviting me, actually, because really it's a pleasure to speak to all of you guys who are now on the point of making this decision. I really tell about it usually as one of the best decisions in my life. And it literally, you know, led me where I am now. I came to the program because I wanted to study, first of all, for myself, all the aspects of migration, because I myself was a migrant, you know, to Israel, new migrant. So I wanted to understand, you know, what is the best way to adapt and so on. But I'm the person, if I don't know something, I want to learn it by myself and then to teach others. That's basically what I do now. So first of all, I will tell you how it is actually works. And you have workshops and you have very practical lectures by amazing professionals who really work in the field. And either these are people who make research, either those who really work hands-on in the field, in all the crisis zones and so on. And still they have a courage to teach you and to pass the knowledge. So definitely you learn from the best. And the group itself is also very warm. And for those of you who are international students, you don't have to be worried about, you know, like being alone and something like this, because I'm still in touch with all the people that we studied together, and we became really good friends. Especially, you know each other very well while you do all the research process, when you do all the research and so on. So now I will tell you about, I told you that, yes, I learned a lot, and you study many, many topics. I never thought I will learn about all these things, like international migration, it really has a lot of aspects. And there are some things that I was not aware of, and you know, about all the forced migration aspects, and many of the alumni work in this field. I work now in the NGO, non-governmental organization that helps new migrants who come to Israel to get adapted in the job market. So it is a really long process, you know, and one of the reasons that they chose me, in a way I chose them, but also like I came, you know, to apply for the job after the internship that I took not with them. And really they told me that they saw that the level of the knowledge that I have, and actually I was the one who was offering them a lot of, you know, improvements of the program, only because I wanted to, you know, to share my knowledge. And yes, they took me, and now I work there for 2.5 years. And I can tell you even more, that during the program, you do a lot of research. And yes, it may be challenging, to dive into the topic and to understand, all the aspects, but it will give you really, afterwards, you will have freedom of choice in a way where you want, to develop all these things. So in my case, I took the internship in the municipality in one of the cities of Israel. And I studied what I wanted to study, the most effective ways of adaptation, of social adaptation. And you are not alone when you do the research. I had all the help of professionals, all the help of our lecturers, of my mentor who guided me. And yes, the research went well. I'm really proud of it because now we even do the governmental program with it, with the organization where I work on the base of this research. So you see, I finished to study, like I finished my studies 1.5 years, but I never finished studying because I all the time continued the things that I did. So guys, also you have a lot of things, by the way. This is also one of the things that cut me when I have to stop, okay? Because I can't speak endlessly. Really, you have
Give a few more minutes, Sofya. It's cool.
Yeah. You have like a lot of courses that I would never take. For example, radar course that was very subsidized, and this is amazing. Like the reaction for the force major circumstance. Guys, we had this 2020 for sure. It took me a lot of efforts, because I work with people who are looking for the job. And yes, it is crisis and people are in a personal crisis, but knowing all the things that can help, it really helps me on my day-to-day job. I'm a training manager, I'm arranging the studies, but I also know what these people need, like as migrants. So yeah, I think really I can encourage you all. You can ask me questions, of course, I will answer them. Thanks again for these studies. It was really amazing. Nora, the stage is yours.
I have nothing to add. I mean, I can just echo everything you said. I have a list here of things that I wanted to share, and it's like Sofya said it, Sofya said it. But shortly still, so my name is Nora Meissner. I'm currently a PhD student in the Department for Sociology and Anthropology in Tel Aviv University, where also the migration program is located. I'm an alumna from the class of 2015, which means that I came almost 7 years ago to study here. And I thought I will come here to study for a year. And here I still am involved with the program for the last 7 years. I'm also a teaching assistant for the last 4 years in the course in which the internship takes place. So I have seen all the cohorts of the last 4 years arriving, doing their internship and really working in the field. And also Sofya was one of our students then and finding their way. And I'm a PhD student with the Professor Adriana Kemp. She will give a lecture just after me, I guess, or then afterwards, which with Anastasia and with Adriana and with all the other lectures, my main point that I want to make, or the two main points that I want to make is this program is really, it's designed for you to look at things related to migration and to be able to understand them, to be able to take them apart, to be able to have discussions, to be able to be the one that always says, yeah, but there is also this perspective. We are not like, nothing is one-dimensional. We're looking at migration from many different aspects. As Sofya said, there are practitioners in the field and also like prominent academics in their field that will be your teachers or would be your teachers. And there's guidance for everyone. The program is interdisciplinary. So all the students come from different backgrounds. One studied economics before, one studied political science before, someone else studied sociology before. But then we're all sitting together and we're talking about the same topic that everyone is fascinated by. I mean, this is a program where people come that really want to understand migration from all the different perspectives. And then you sit together with people that come from all kinds of places with all kinds of backgrounds, also academic backgrounds. And you sit together for a year and you learn. You really learn from each other, you learn from your teachers, and you learn from the history of the people that you're sitting with. I can also echo the fact that like the people in the program became my closest friends, and they still are. I mean, I think this is also a matter of this dedication to a subject that brings people and that connected us and connects all the students that I see throughout the last years. Also, not to forget to mention what David said before. I mean, studying in Tel Aviv is not the worst place to study. It might distract you sometimes, but it also offers you a place to go to the beach in the evening after you studied in the university, after you studied in the library. And it's a great place to be. There is no question. I think that's it for the moment. I don't know if I forgot something because Sofya said all the things, but I will also be here for questions afterwards. And as I said, I've seen the last 7 years through the eyes of the program and what happened in this program. So I'm happy to share if anyone has questions. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nora, and thank you so much, Sofya. I think thank you firstly for giving up your time and to come here tonight and to talk to us about your experiences of the program. I think we can sell the program, we can market it as much as we can. I think actually listening to previous students and alumni, you can feel it, you can see it, you can experience it much better, I think, than we possibly can. So thank you so much, Nora, and thank you so much, Sofya, again. Really appreciate it. I forgot to mention at the beginning, but we'll do a Q&A session at the end. But in the meantime, until then, feel free to pop any question you want answered onto the chat. You can send it direct to me if you want, or if you want to send it out to everyone, by all means, you can do it that way. We'll answer them at the end. So yes, we have a pre-recorded lecture specifically for our webinar tonight from Professor Adriana Kemp, head of the School of Social and Policy Studies. The lecture title is Children of Ambivalence, Migration Policy and Asylum Seekers' Children. So let me just share that now with you. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay. Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Adriana Kemp, and I'm the director of the School of Social and Policy Studies at Tel Aviv University and a professor at the International Masters on Migration. My research interests focus on migrants in precarious social legal status, mainly asylum seekers and undocumented migrants. Often called irregular, non-authorized, liminal, or illegal, this type of migrations are pretty much at the center of public and policy discourse. Far less attention, however, is paid to their children, who, similar to their parents, are placed, either lack legal status or are placed in vulnerable social legal conditions. Who are these migrant children that are de facto stateless? We can think of three different categories. The first category are unaccompanied minors that arrived independently. Unaccompanied minors knocking at the gates of better off countries have become a growing phenomenon in recent years and a troubling reminder that children are also part of ongoing crises driving forced migrations worldwide. Last March, just To bring an example, the number of unaccompanied children crossing the US-Mexico border hit a new record with more than 18,500 minors attempting to reach the US. The second category are children that were brought by their parents who either lack permits or overstay their visas. The third category are children of undocumented migrants that were born and raised in destination countries where there are no venues for regularization or acquisition of citizenship. Children born out of place, so to speak, mostly result from the expansion of temporary labor migration schemes, such as those prevalent in Southeast Asia and the Middle East, schemes that operate with an explicit understanding that migrants are desired as workers, but their families are unwelcome. What these three categories of children and minors share is that they are physically and socially present, yet legally absent or non-existent. What is the social significance of this phenomena? Why should undocumented children be the focus of our attention? I think there are various reasons. First, demographically, the number of de facto stateless children has been on the rise for a while. There are significant push factors related to violence and poverty that are forcing families and children alone to cross borders in search for a better life. 11% of the total of international migration flows are children. And while not nearly all of them are undocumented, many of them are in precarious legal situation. In the US alone, 2.2 million minors are without legal status. In many EU countries, asylum seekers' children are under temporary protection and at risk of being removed. In Israel, 3% of the children in the schooling system of Tel Aviv are in either a precarious legal situation or completely lacking legal status. Second, there are also, I believe, important political reasons related to the changing global landscape of policy and public opinion towards migrants. In the last decades, we find a distinctive restrictive turn in migration policies in much of the Western democracies, leading to the narrowing down or shutting down of authorized venues for family reunification, regularization, and naturalization, all of which leave migrant children in a social legal limbo. The combination of push factors driving children to migrate and pull factors that make it increasingly difficult to migrate means that legal status has become an important mechanism of social stratification, shaping the life chances of children, their forms of belonging and expectations, and ultimately shaping extremely unequal forms of childhood. Nevertheless, research shows that migrant children are not necessarily invisible. Actually, what makes the condition of children unique is the institutional ambivalence towards them as at once children and migrants. On the one hand, as children, they are protected by national laws and international conventions, such as the 1989 International Convention on the Rights of the Child, committed to safeguard their security and well-being. In Israel, for example, national laws such as the 1949 Mandatory Education Law and several social services provisions apply to undocumented migrant children, especially those that are at risk or in danger. On the other hand, the same children are deportable and largely regarded as an object of migration control and policy. The fact that migrant children fall in between the gaps and cracks of ambivalent policies means that they undergo simultaneous processes of inclusion and exclusion. While much of the migration policies are national, research in a wide variety of contexts shows that those that are in charge of their incorporation are local actors working at the urban front lines of care and control, such as teachers, social and community workers, and doctors in municipal hospitals, to name but a few. Therefore, the importance of looking at how children are incorporated in localities and how local structures and legacies for dealing with social diversity impact the trajectories of children and their form of social inclusion. Some of the students in our migration masters are involved in internship projects working precisely in these areas. An interesting question is not only how the law shapes the life and trajectories of migrant children, but also how children relate to the law and its institutions, and whether they develop a distinctive legal consciousness and distinctive struggles for achieving recognition. One of the most important migrant social movements taking place in recent years in the US comprises 1.5ers and second-generation children born to unauthorized parents, known as the Dreamers. These are young people that grew up in the US, attended schools, and even graduated from college in their search to fulfill the American dream, but face an uncertain future. One of the first steps that took President Joe Biden upon taking office regards DACA, which stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, a program that allows undocumented migrants that arrived as children to receive a 2-year period of deferred action from deportation and become eligible for a work permit. All this seem to indicate that legality is much more than a mere juridical status. It is a space where significant struggles for recognition and negotiation of belonging take place in an era of global migrations. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Okay. Please do pass on my thanks to Professor Kemp for her wonderful lecture that was very interesting and informative. Okay, so next up we have, oops, let me share my screen again. Vulnerabilities and Dignities in the Humanitarian Context by Dr. Einav Levy. Okay.
Hi guys, my name is Einav Levy and I'm a manager and a researcher in the field of humanitarian action, migration, vulnerable communities and resilience. First, I will apologize, I couldn't be with you today on live, but nevertheless, I would like to share with you some ideas and thoughts that might lead you to join us next year, so consider it. Here are the thoughts. People are forced to run away and leave their homes and their countries due to adversities and crises. Many people who are forced to leave their homes are the same ones who were already vulnerable before the disaster struck. Now, when discussing vulnerable communities, there are some categories that are usually being addressed. For instance, people under or over a certain age, socioeconomic status, statelessness, such as running away from a conflict-stricken area, food security issues, and many more. But on the individual level, who is considered vulnerable? If you are over or under a certain age, if you're 70 years old, are you considered vulnerable? What about single mothers or people with limited access to internet? Are they considered vulnerable? Now, being vulnerable is not only about your belonging to a specific group within a population. It is about how a specific threat affects you, what are the resources you have or do not have to handle these crises, and your perception about such an event. A passing event for one might be a disaster to someone else, subject to one's vulnerability. So, how do we encounter these vulnerabilities in times of crises resulted in forced migration? And more importantly, what can we do about it? Now, think of a forced migrant who is avoiding reaching out for basic needs because he is afraid of the authorities. Maybe you can think of that woman who generally has limited access to knowledge and resources, and this crisis created a coercive environment for her, and then she becomes a victim of gender-based violence. There are things we can do in order to mitigate and to reduce the harm. First, to ask the right questions, but more importantly, the right people, the most vulnerable ones, and search for them, all of them, not only the ones that are easy to reach. Ask, for instance, the 12-year-old girl where you should put the street lamp above the bus station. She knows better than you where are the frightening places that she will avoid of going to. And if you will not provide her with the right solution, you are harming her basic human rights for transportation in that case. Can you think of other people that know better than you what they need? This is called diversity. Embrace it and empower it. Second, not only to talk about those vulnerable people without them partnering and leading the process, but also include them in the initial analysis and response, not as clients or beneficiaries, but rather as partners, owners, and leaders. We called it inclusion. Third, culture. It is not as easy as you probably can guess, or some of you maybe already know. Sometimes you do not understand culture or needs, if shared with you at all. So one tool you want to use maybe is cultural competence, your competence or the competence of your organization to develop abilities and to act in a way that will bridge over the cultural gaps, to understand people, to be respectful, and to open to different culture perspectives. So go on and build your cultural competence. Fourth, the practical standards, which will help you understand whether you are in the right direction. You want to use the Sphere Standards manual book. This book was developed by a group of humanitarians, professionals, of course, aiming to improve the quality of humanitarian work during disaster response. Within the goal, and within this goal in mind, these professionals frame a humanitarian charter and identified a set of humanitarian standards to be applied in a humanitarian response. This well-established, easy to follow, practical and dignifying manual book will assist you in navigating through challenges or health or policy related issues about infrastructure, for instance, and many other challenges in light of limited resources and human rights. Lastly, and importantly, the concept of dignity. You want to know what is the best thing to do? Think, what are the things that will dignify you? The option to choose, for instance, the sense of control. If you will provide those senses to the vulnerable ones, their sense of dignity will grow. And through that, we can work, we can elevate suffering and save lives. Can you shift vulnerabilities into resources? Shift risks into opportunities? How can we implement dignity within our actions? These and more issues are the aims of humanitarian action within the context of forced migration. So next time, when you're sitting in your couch and thinking about forced migrants, maybe you will also have better perspective who is in real need. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Wonderful. He spoke with such passion. Wonderful. And again, please do pass.
A man of passion in his job and work and what he's teaching. Actually, because he's in field now, this is why he couldn't give this lecture in person in the work in Colombia.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. So do pass on our thanks to him. That was wonderful. Okay, so next up we have Professor Tammie Ronen, head of the Developing Countries Program.
Okay.
Did you want me to share the video now or whenever you want?
In a minute.
In a minute. Okay, just let me know when.
I want to say hi to everyone, and I saw several people that I already talked with over the telephone or Zoom, so I'm happy to see the face of the people I've already talked with. I'm Tammie Ronen. I'm the head of the program of developing countries, and there are several people from the program here with us. My colleague, Dr. Fishman, who is driving now, but he said he will stop soon and then can also operate the camera because now it's too dangerous, but he's with us. And Professor Hadas Mamane from Engineer will join us very soon. And there is Opher Mendelsohn. Opher, you can say hi. I saw you're here with us.
Yes, hi, and Hadas is also with us.
Yes, hi.
And, Hadas is also Hadas Mamane, and we have two students. They have seminar today, so they had to run, but Tzuf was here and should be with us. And Tal, hi, hi. And Tal went to an interview, but will try to return later on. So I'd like to say one sentence and then we will watch the movie and then we can talk. Actually, we started this program because it is in our heart. All of us are very passionate about sustainable development. All of us work and conduct projects in many developing countries, especially India and Africa. And our student will tell you that it's an academic program, but actually we feel like we work with colleagues and we learn together and we work together and we do studies, conduct studies together because we are all very passionate about it. And we do believe that it's the future and our mission to train ambassadors for change and really apply things. So I'd like to show you a very short movie that a student just did last week. And David, if you can share it with us,
of course,
please.
Of course.
Thank you.
Achieving sustainable development is the most difficult and most important challenge of our generation.
We believe that in order to achieve change, we need to train leaders.
Train people who will make real contributions to overcoming this challenge. And that starts from day one in the program.
Our projects and thesis combine both engineering and social sciences in order to solve the most complex issues that humanity needs to face.
As an engineer, I was always taught to think of the best technological solution for a problem. So my biggest benefit from the program is realizing that the human and social factors always take part.
The project attempts to bridge the Israeli ecosystem and innovation to these places that need these solutions the most.
We take the students to work with us on real projects that we run with top international partners.
My time in India was an amazing opportunity to leave the classroom and to see the practical realities of sustainable development in the field.
I like that I can begin a project and end the project, and that I'm actually creating action towards development.
I'm enjoying the opportunity to meet the top professionals in the field in Israel, to learn from some of the best.
This is very exciting because we really have the ability to see how we can take things we've learned about, conducted research, and see the way it can come into life.
If you have a heart which is passionate about sustainable development, a mind which likes analytical thinking, and a character to work hard, to take initiative and leadership of real projects, then this is the right program for you.
Okay, thank you, David.
You're welcome.
So, few words about the program, and then I will let other people talk. This is a one-year program for both international and Israeli students. We think it's very important to integrate people from different areas, so it's multidisciplinary. We have engineers, we have people from Faculty of Law, Social Science, Business, economy, whatever you want, that goes on with the student, but also with the faculties. We work together, and the main mission is to work from day one on project, on developing projects, adapting new technology to apply, study, and work with in developing countries. It's we study one day, very, very intensive day, Thursday from the morning until the evening, but actually I think there is not a day that I don't speak with my students, because they need us to supervise them, to talk, to help, to be involved in everything. And usually we plan the summer semester to be in a developing country, Africa or Israel or India. This year, because of the corona, if we go, it will be later on, and we will extend the time and go in October because it's not possible now. Right now, we have 3 students in Tanzania because they are applied their research and do some work there. And since I see Tzuf and I know Tzuf needs to go, Tzuf is a student in this year program, and I'd like Tzuf, please, to say a few words as a student in the program, and later on we'll talk with the faculties. Tzuf, can you unmute yourself and join us? Okay. I see he's freezing. Oh, Tzuf, can you join us? Okay,
yes,
thank you.
yes, it was a internet disconnection at the worst moment. I can stay here more. It's okay. And what did you want me to say? I couldn't hear you. Tammie?
Yeah, I'd like you to say a few words about the program.
Okay. What I really like about this program is that you really feel that you are supervised, that you have a connection with the professors, and that when you are going into a project, you're not going by yourself, and you can actually study something from many aspects, and there are not only from the students that comes from different fields, also the lecturers comes and the supervisors come from different fields. So you can see them arguing during the classes, and you can see both sides, and people are also coming from different aspects. And for example, in my project, I am with the engineer who talked in the video, and it is very nice for me who comes from philosophy that I can study, get explanation from a specific engineer about things. And feel like I'm talking too much, sorry. If you want to ask something, you're welcome.
Thank you, Tzuf. We'll ask question later on. I see Hadas is with us. Professor Hadas Mamane Steindel is from environmental engineer, and she is a very important part of our program. Hadas, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tammie, for the introduction. Basically, what we're doing, we are looking at technology and its role in sustainable development, and also looking at aspects from innovation to social impact. These are the things that are mainly important for us. And in that context, we're asking various questions. So for example, questions that are interesting for us is we're trying to understand the need of technology and sustainable development and the application. We're also trying to look at the challenges of applying technologies in this context in low-income countries, and the adaptation and the optimal solutions in every case. We're also trying to understand what works and in what context, why and how. So these questions are very important when we're trying to develop technologies for sustainable development, and when we're trying also to develop sustainable technologies. And also we need to communicate. So what we're trying also to do is trying to communicate the technology, the engineering language into the basic concept of designs for those that are not engineers, and the vice versa. So that like people that come from my background could understand, for example, could understand the language that, for example, that Tammie talks about in the social context, or that Ram talks about in the economic context. So it's about also defining and finding a language that we can talk to each other, because this is the basic thing in order to make an impact. So we're looking at these aspects, and the idea is to, of course, access ways to find clean energy, clean water, sewage, looking at waste. But in order to solve these issues, we really need to, as I said, first define what is needed, why, what works, and how to talk within the same language. So I think that's about what we're trying to do, and how to combine engineering and those different aspects.
And you can see the glitter in Hadas' eyes, because India is in her heart, and
yeah,
convey.
Yeah,
and
I can't wait to take that plane.
And meanwhile, I realized that Ram stopped. And Ram, is it safe enough for you to join us?
Yes, Tammie, just 30 seconds and I'm ready. Actually, I feel like I have nothing to add after everything you said, so maybe we can go to questions.
No. You can say a few words, because if not for you and Hadas, I would never establish this program. So
You always have important things to say, so don't say that.
Maybe Opher can say something, and I'll speak after him.
Okay, Opher, why don't you present yourself? Opher
Right,
is very
so I also don't have much to add to Hadas. I come actually from in this quite similar angle, but I deal with agriculture.
We want to see you, Opher.
Okay, now you can even see me. All right, 1 second. Yes, now you can see me. All right. So I come from the side of agriculture, which unlike engineering, not everything is very easy to solve. There is no solution to everything. It's a lot about compromises, because we are dealing with life sciences, but we try to bring technology and know-how and way of thinking from Israel to the other places. India is in the heart of Hadas. Africa is in my heart, but we'll try. I think we can do both so I'm already working on projects in India also with the team, and that's it. And I think we can, in a way, we try to bring many aspects, as Tzuf said, because everyone brings something different, and we try to combine it and find how it works all together.
Thank you, Opher. So actually, all of us conduct projects abroad, and the students become part of our project, either as working with us to apply change wherever, because we believe in the Israeli song, אני ואתה נשנה את העולם, you and me will change the world, or in a research that try to evaluate and study the impact of this project. Ram, I'm not going to give you a way to run away. So.
Okay, so I guess the only thing I have to add after everything you've heard is that this is a program not for the faint-hearted, the faint of heart. This is a difficult program. We expect a lot. We demand a lot from the students, and we expect you to act as partners and not just students, as entrepreneurs, as taking initiative, working with us and not just learning from us. So that's all I want to add to everything that everybody said.
Okay, so maybe before I'll open it to question or whatever David say, I'll just mention that it's very integrative program in the way that we are all involved in each other class and we sit in each other class. So when I teach social aspect or cultural aspect or how to conduct the process of change, looking at sociology and anthropology and psychological aspect, I will relate to developing countries and cultural needs and to do there. And we involved our partners that give lecture and present about the cultural aspect from their countries. When Hadas teaches about technology, she relates to the project and the way we work with it. And when Ram teaches about the big challenges of economy, agriculture, food security, climate change, bioenergy, etc., he actually relates to the project. So the project is the center of all the learning, and then we try to see how we really design change process that combine sociology aspect, economical aspect, business aspect, technology aspect into one integrated identity that can really make change, with many guests from India, from Africa that join and help us. And we love it. David, you are the conductor of everything. Should we open it to question or how do we proceed?
I think now's a good time to open it up to questions. Like I said before, everyone, you're welcome to pop your questions into the chat. You're also welcome to talk out loud. It's not a big webinar. We are recording this webinar to go into our YouTube channel for later, but you're welcome to ask away any question.
I will just share something that I saw in the chat. People ask about timetable. We already accepted several students. Now is the time to register. And after we evaluate all the documents, which can take a few weeks, then we give an answer. Deadline is when our program is full, because actually we have lots of applications. We plan to be very small program. We have lots of referrals, so but we're not going to be more than 30. So as soon as it filled up, that will be the deadline.
Tammie, I see there is a question about possible career paths after graduation. So in principle, there are a number of potential paths. One is in the public sector, the other is in NGOs, civil society, and the third is also in the private sector. So, you know, normally, typically people, it's common for people who take programs in development to seek public sector work or work in NGOs. That's certainly also possible when you graduate from our program. But we also...
Oh, have we lost Ram?
We lost you, Ram.
We lost Ram.
Until Ram is back with us, I'll say that many of our students are now involved.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. You may continue.
Sorry, so I'll repeat. I don't know if you heard anything I said, but normally when people attend a program in development or sustainable development, it's very common for such programs to help, to prepare them for jobs in the public sector or in civil society, so in government, international organizations, NGOs. That's also true of our program, but we also make extra effort to prepare graduates for work in the private sector. You get to interact with private companies, or often startup companies, in your projects, and you go through the experience working with them of what it's like to be an entrepreneur trying to start a business in the space of sustainable development. So we prepare people for career paths in all three sectors: public and civil society, and also the private sector, especially around like social impact. We have special classes on doing business in emerging markets, impact investments, and so forth. And some of before this program started, a similar program was conducted in a more informal way, and some of the people who had participated in it have already found work in both NGOs, as well as like in the case of the Israeli graduates, like Israeli ag tech companies, big ones also. So that's as far as that question goes.
Two more questions that I saw in the chat. Most of the students are involved in projects that we're working with our partnership around the world, because we want to in a situation where we know that it's okay, it's organized, and you know what you're doing. But if you are very passionate about doing something else, like we have a student now in Tanzania that she's very much keen about doing something there with Engineer Without Borders, how you call them in English. And we help her to develop it as long as it goes in line with our project. Another question was about the courses. We have thesis and non-thesis path. The thesis path almost don't have opportunity for elective courses because we study Thursday the whole day, and if you attend the Arava, the desert seminar, which is an intensive week, very exciting and interesting, you have no room for elective courses. In the non-thesis path, there are few elective courses that can be chosen wherever it's suitable for you. We approve of it, but there are many possibilities to select course from other faculties.
I also see we have Adina's raised her hand. Do you want to ask a question, Adina?
Hi, yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't know if you can hear me well. Can I ask a question about the migration program?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On like 2 years, is there a difference between the international and the Israeli program? And what's the schedule like, and when is the deadline for?
Did you hear that, Anastasia?
Anastasia, you ask about the schedule in terms of the week, because I'm guessing what you asked, because it was a really bad sound. Schedule in terms of the study days?
Sorry, it's the schedule of the program, because on the website it says it's 2 years long. Is there a difference between the international and Israeli program, and what's the deadline to apply as well?
Okay. So it's 1 year program. Some time ago it was 2 year program. So it's 1 year program, 3 semester, fall, spring, and summer. We study 2 days a week. And in general, the deadline it's for applying in May 31st. this is for now. We may extend the deadline for application, but for now, the deadline for submission is May 31st. Did I answer?
Okay, I think you did. Yeah, you did. That was her question.
Okay.
Okay.
I see here a question about whether the classes would be online on campus on 21st, 22nd. David, you would.
Yes, I mean, we're back on campus and we are planning to have classes back on campus as much as possible. That's our plan for next year. We hope that won't change. But there are places, we'll put in place some long distance learning if we need to at the beginning. But the plan is to resume in-class learning, which we have resumed recently. That's our plan. Okay. There was also a question somebody asked about scholarships as well. They sent me a message, and I'll just put on here in the chat. There is a link to our funding page. You can look through there. We list all of our scholarship options and financial aid from other organizations. So do take the time to go through there and to check. You answered, there was another question as well. Let me just, okay, thanks, Ran. Maybe you answered it already, Anastasia. There was a question about how is the course split between mandatory courses and electives? I think, did you answer? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. No, go ahead, Anastasia.
Okay. I think we have, it's about, it's about, I think, 2/3 and 1/3. 2/3 is the mandatory courses around the hours that you need to take, and 1/3 is elective classes. But when we talk about mandatory classes, it's also when you take into account that you need to do 2 seminars, but you can choose between the seminar, which one of the seminars you are taking, the research seminars. But I would say that split is 2/3 and 1/3. Ilana, am I right?
You're on mute, Ilana.
Ilana, you're muted.
You're on mute.
Yes, so mandatory classes, it's 15 hours credits out of 36, and the electives is 13 out of 36, yes. And 2 seminars that worth 8 credits.
We were asked to give an example about a social aspect of projects. So for example, Tzuf, his thesis regarding treatment of sewage water, and he works with Hadas in India. But he's very interested in social and cultural aspects. So we work on trying to learn in what way using sewage water for field change the way people live, increase their income, how much they're motivated to do it, support from the family to go on this way, satisfaction from the process. So there are many aspects that will always join the change process. One of my projects, for example, is training children to become ambassadors for pure water. I established a learning program, scientific learning program about water in school, and we try to see if children working and taking care of filters in school can bring more pure water home and will increase the use of pure water within the families, and will people be more motivated to use more water and how it changes family function there. So it's always the collaboration of various aspects. It's never either engineer or cultural, psychological, sociological aspect. It's looking at the way it's all integrated together.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tammie. I think Ram mentioned it when he said our projects are real, they're not academic, so they require all disciplines. And like I mentioned at the very, very beginning of the webinar, you know, TAU is a multidisciplinary hub of academic excellence, which is awaiting here for you.
Okay, so if you have any question, you can write us. Ilana, myself will answer. There are lots of material we can send you, and you're welcome to ask us, talk with us, and look at other aspects.
Wonderful. Okay. I think we scheduled to finish it at sort of 7:15. I think it's almost 7:20, so I think now's a good time. And like Tammie said, you should all, I think you've all got Tammie and Anastasia's contact details and Ilana as well that you can reach out to. And you're welcome to reach out to me. I sent you the email invite. So if you have any questions about student life, housing, dorms, scholarship, life on campus, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to help and to answer. So yeah, I'd like to just say a big thank you to everyone for taking their time to come here this evening to be part of our webinar. Sofya, you've raised your hand, and Anna as well. No? Okay. Oh, okay. It's a thumb up. Okay. Everyone, thank you so much. Thank you, Nora.
So
Thanks,
see you in
everyone.
Israel. Bye-bye.
Bye.